So we started with the Django REST framework, right? So in this, yeah, what I said is, now this allows you to develop a browsable API and it provide a authentication policies. Okay, you have a built-in libraries like this, and it is provide a serialization that support both ORM as well as non-ORM data sources. So all this we have seen, and how to install the Django REST framework. I said you have to install Django REST framework, and you have to install Markdown for supporting a browsable APIs, and you have to install Django filters for filter and pagination. So these are the basic steps. You have to install the REST framework app, but generally use this API authentication for authentication as well as for what? Authorization. Until unless you don't use authentication and authorization, you don't require this. Okay. So the first thing, so what is the first thing which you need to know for developing this API is serializers. Serializer. Okay. So you have a serializers. So what is the use of serializer? So the main use of serializer is, okay. So you're trying to convert the complex data types. Okay, you're trying to convert the complex data types like model instances, query sets into Python data type. So serializers allows two things. Okay, serializers. What is exactly serializer will do is serializer allows two things here. Serializer allows, okay, how many things here? Two things. So one is serialization. Serialization is nothing but in this case, serialization in this case is nothing but, okay, it is a process of, it is a process of converting complex objects or complex data types. Complex data types like, so model instances, okay, model instance and query sets, okay, model instance and query set into, so Python type and Python data type again back into which one? JSON. But generally serializers convert these complex data types into Python data types. And that Python data types again you can convert back into what? JSON. Again, deserialization is there. Now deserialization is inverse process. So where you convert this Python data types, again Python data types into so complex data types. And what are these complex data types is like converting into model instance, or model instance. Now this process, you can call it as what? Deserialization. So here you're trying to use the serializers for doing these two operations. Okay. You're using serializers for doing these two operations. One is converting complex data types into Python. And again, Python data types into what? Some model instances. So this can be done by using serializers. So the serializers are two types. One is non-model serializers, and one more is model serializer. So the serializers are two types. Serializers are two types. One is called as a non-model serializer. So this is not bind with a model, and there is a model serializer, and this is bind with what here? Model. So the job of serializer is not only conversion. The job of serializer not only for converting complex data types into Python, it is also work like a form and model form. Form and model form. What is the use of form and model form? Generally use a form for input and doing some validation. Okay, input and input validations can be done using what? Forms. In the same way, you are using serializers. Even serializers also use not only for converting, it is also used for input validations. Serializers. Okay, serializers are used for populating data. So populating data and performing input validations or performing validations means it is not only doing conversions before writing into the data into the model. You can do the validations even by using what? Serializers. So this is one of the important thing when you're working with the REST framework. Okay, this is one of the thing when you're working with the REST framework. You can see Django REST framework serializers are crucial components that convert complex data types such as Django models and query set into Python data types like dictionary that can be easily rendered into what JSON or XML. They also handle the reverse process called deserialization, where the incoming data is validated and converted back into complex data types for saving to the database. Saving to the database. I said no serializer function similar to the Django form and model form classes, providing a robust mechanism for controlling API input and what is the output. So serialization is a transform the Python objects into a format suitable for API response. Deserialization, that is parsing incoming data from the request and converting back into what Python objects ready to use in the backend. Validation, provide a powerful or built-in system for validating incoming data, and data structuring allows developer to control which fields has to be serialized and which fields has to be not serialized. Okay, even that you can do it by defining which one data structure. So I said types of serializers. There are two here. One is serializer and one more is a model serializer. So it is a base class and this is a non-model serializer. When the serializer doesn't bind with what model, like the way how you use form and model form. So form doesn't bind with what model. But model form can bind with what? Means you want to create a form using model fields and you want to check the validation and you want to write the data directly into what? Database. Then that can be done by using which form? Model form. But if it is a form, you have to do everything manually. But model form is like a model. Okay, model form is like a model, right? So these are different things are there. So most of the times we'll be using two types of serializers. One is serializer and one more is what? Model serializer. And there is one more serializer is there. What is that is hyperlink model serializer. So this is what exactly this is what exactly serializer is. Okay. Okay, right now this is what I'll just take this information. Okay, because already I've written here. Okay, it will do two things. One is converting complex data types like model instance query set into Python data type. And once you convert into a Python data type, you can convert into what? JSONs. So this is there in the documentation, same documentation only this is. So you can find the Django REST documentation here. So this is a documentation, serializers documentation. It is the first chapter actually. Okay. If you see, you can find the same. Okay, right? So you find different types of serializers, right? And yes, now this is same thing what you find here. Okay. So it is just like a form and model form classes. Okay. But anyway, I just take this because it is given in detail, right? So serializer functions similar to Django form and model form, Django form as well as what? Model form, right? So these are the key features where you can do validations and you can restrict which fields you want to serialize and which fields you don't want to serialize by defining what your data structure. So these are the key functions of serializers. Okay. So these are the points related with the, okay. So this is input validation, deserialization, serialization. Okay. We'll try to see with the example here how the serialization is done. Okay. So there are two types of serializer classes are there. So Django REST framework, Django REST framework, Django REST framework, it will provide two types of classes. One is called as a serializer class and one more is, sorry, one is called as a serializer class and one more is model serializer class. One is serializer class and one more is what? Model serializer class. Now, whenever you want to serialize, now you have to declare or you have to create a serializer and you create a serializer, okay, by using serializer class, which is available in, so Django, Django underscore REST framework. Okay, Django underscore REST framework. So D REST framework dot serializers, dot serializers. module provides, okay, two classes. One is serializer class, and one more is model serializer class. One is a serializer class, and one more is model serializer class. Okay, and serializer class is used, okay, developing developing custom serializer classes, custom serializer classes for converting for converting for converting complex data types into which type here? Python data type. Okay, and this is not bind with the model. This is not bind with model. This is not bind with model. Okay, and there is a model serializer. There is a model serializer class is used for developing okay, custom model serializer class, custom model serializer class. Now this class is bind with what here? Model. Okay, so this class is bind with the model. Means what you can do, you can write directly into what? Database. You can read from database. All this you can do it by using. What is the advantage is model serializer is just like a form I said. Okay, you store the data into the form and then do the validation and save it. Yes or no? You can save it directly. You can update it directly. Okay, you can delete it what? Directly using which class? Model serializer class. It is just like a form, model form. It is just like which form? Model form, right? So let me tell you the basic steps of serializing. Okay, first I'll tell you serializer class, and next we'll see model serializer class. Okay, suppose assume that I said it is for complex data types. I said it is for complex data types. Now here already I created one project. So I created one project here. Okay. So just open models.py. So create one model. So what is the model is? I create some model called some employee. And here I'm saying models dot model, right? So what employee is having? Employee number. So employee number is models dot integer field, models dot integer field. Okay. And I take this as a primary key equal to true. Okay. Then employee name and models dot character field. So where I'm trying to define the maximum length, and there is a job where I'm saying models dot character field. I define the maximum length here. So there is a salary and models dot. So what is this field is float field. So this is the employee model, and this employee model is having how many fields? Four fields like employee number, employee name, job, and one more is a salary. So four fields are there. Okay. Okay. Then what I'm doing is now I try to build a model. Okay, I'll do the migrations. And in admin.py, I register this so that I want to perform some CRUD operations. So admin.site.register. So I try to register the model. So from API.models, import, what is the name of the model? Employee. So here I register which model here? Employee model, right? So after registration of this employee model, now what will I do is I'll try to do the migrations. So Python manage.py. So make a migration. Okay. Some error, no module name, rest underscore, right? Underscore, right? So make migrations or whatever, not saved. Yeah, done this. Okay, right? So migrations. And here I'm saying migrate. We have not installed application. Huh? So install the application. So that is API. So make migrations. Then migrate. Okay, right? So after this, now create a super user. So Python manage.py. So create super user. Okay, I just create super user here. Okay, now this is what I'm creating it. Okay, right now created super user and manage.py run the server. Okay, run the server here. Okay, now try to open the admin. Try to open the admin. Okay, now employee is there. Now add the employees here. So there is an employee number, employee name, job. So there is a job and what is that here? Select. Add some employees. So add some employees. So here I added some 4 employees, right? So after adding the employees, now what I want to do is, okay, I want to read the data. I want to read data. So what I want to do is, I want to read whose details, employee details. Okay. Now assume that this is an endpoint. Okay, assume that this is an endpoint which get what whose details, employee details. So you get so get EMP. What is the name of the view is get EMP. Now this is function based. This is what here function based, and this will receive the request, and it will also receive what here employee number. It will also receive what employee number. Now read the details of the employee from model by saying employee dot from API dot models import the model, and what is the name of the model is employee. I'm writing here employee dot model manager dot what is the name of the method get. So where you are saying employee number equal to employee number means you read the details of what here employee. But EMP is which type of model instance. But I want to convert this model instance into dictionary. I want to convert this model instance into what dictionary. Then how can I convert model instance into dictionary? By using Django from yes from Django underscore rest framework. Okay, Django underscore rest y. Okay, so here I'm saying from REST framework. So import what is that here? Serializers. Okay, from REST framework import which one? Serializers. Okay, so here serializers, and serializers is a module, right? Serializers is a module, and this will provide 2 classes. One is serializer, and one more is model serializer. Now here what I'm saying is EMP underscore dictionary. Now what I have to do, I have to convert this model instance into what? Dictionary. I want to convert this model instance into what? Dictionary. Then how can I convert this model instance into dictionary? For that, you require which class? A serializer class. For that, you require which class? Serializer class. Now here, I create one module. I create one module here. Okay. So new module in API. I'm creating one new module, and any module name you can give, but I'm giving a module name as what here? Serializers. And in this module, okay, module, okay, in this module, I'm trying to import what is the name of this is serializers. So what is the name of the module is serializers. Yeah, 1 minute here, serializers dot py. Now here I'm developing a serializer class. I'm developing a serializer class. Now you are wrapping what you are wrapping model instance into which object? Serializer object. Okay. So this is the employee serializer. What is the name of this is employee serializer. Inherit serializer dot. What is the name of the class is serializer. Okay, now employee serializer is used to serialize which instance? Employee instance. Whenever you want to serialize employee instance, it can be model instance or it can be employee instance. Okay. Suppose you want to convert employee object into what? Dictionary. Even you can do that by using which class? Employee serializer class. Now employee serializer class serialize what fields? You have to define the fields. Now there is a field called employee number. Employee number equal to serializers dot serializer. Serializers dot, sorry. Serializers dot, what is the type of this is integer field. An integer field, this is integer field, right? Employee number is which type of integer type, right? So, but you are trying to use integer field from which module? Serializers. Okay. So what this field is doing, see, a serializer is a module, and integer field is what here? Type. It means you are serializing which value? Integer value. You are serializing which value? Integer value. Then employee name. I'm writing here serializers dot which field it is? Character field. You can define, see, if you want, you can define the maximum length, but I just write here serializers dot serializer dot integer field, serializer dot character field, and there is a job which is called serializers dot. What is the name of this is? Again, character field. Okay, right? And there is one more field is there, and what is that? Salary equal to serializers dot, which field it is? Dot field. It means for every object you require which one? Serializer. So what is the use of this serializer? Converting which instances? Model instance into dictionary. Dictionary or Python data type. Dictionary or Python data type. Dictionary or Python data type. You can use maximum length. Here you can use maximum length in serializers. So character field allows what here? Maximum length. That is actually it is a keyword argument. So if you want, you can use maximum length, whatever length you define in the model. So I've taken the same length here, right? So why this serializer class? To serialize employee number, employee name, job, and salary. Now you don't want certain fields to be serialized, then you can remove it. Suppose you don't want to serialize salary, then you can remove which one? Salary. It means salary will be serialized or not serialized? Not serialized. It will try to serialize only number, name, job, but it doesn't serialize what? Salary. So the data which you don't want to serialize, you don't define that in the structure. You don't define that in what here? Structure. So from API dot serializers import, what is the name of the serializer? Employee serializer. Employee serializer. Now here I'm writing EMP dictionary. What I'm writing? EMP dictionary. EMP dictionary equal to employee serializer. Employee serializer object you are creating it. Employee serializer object you are creating it by sending which instance here? Model instance. By sending which instance here? Model instance. Now EMP dictionary is here. EMP is which object? EMP is which object? EMP is which object? Model instance object. And you are converting this model instance into what? Dictionary. But how you are converting this model instance into a dictionary? By using one class. Which class? Serializer class. What is the name of the serializer class? Employee serializer. But you can create a serializer using model. Means instead of defining the fields individually, you can use the fields of what? Model. Okay, instead of using fields individually, directly you can use what? Model. So EMP dictionary equal to employee serializer of EMP. So this will convert because this is a creation of object or not? Yes. This is a creation of object. This is a creation of object. Which object are you creating? Employee serializer object. And you are creating that object using which data? Model instance data. Now this written actually, what it written here? Dictionary. So what this will written actually is a dictionary is here. Now you are trying to serialize. Yeah, this is a class and you are trying to serialize it by saying this. And this contain, now this contain the data. But this data is in the form of what here? This data in the form of which one here? Dictionary. So it is having an attribute. Okay, I'll just write this is which object here? Serializer object. And what this serializer object is having? Dictionary. EMP dictionary equal to EMP serializer dot. So what is the name of this attribute is data. So this data is which type here? It can be a dictionary. It can be a list. It can be what? Any other Python data type. Okay. Because it is of which type? Object type. When it is object type, it will convert into what? Dictionary. If it is a list type, then it converts into what? List. For example, query set will be there. Query set contain one object or more than one object. More than one object, then it written as what? List. But this is one instance or multiple instances? One instance. Then I said employee serializer dot data. You are reading serialized data by using one attribute called which one? Data. Okay, now this employee dictionary, you can send as a part of what? Response. You can send this employee dictionary as a part of which one? A response. Which response? JSON response. You can send as a part of a response. Okay, REST framework import. What I'm trying to import is So there is a JSON response here. JSON response. I just take this. I mean, just search here. I want to generate an output in which format? JSON format. Okay. I want to generate the output in which format? JSON format. So what you are trying to do now, this is a data. Data is which type here? Dictionary. And this dictionary, I want to convert into which format? JSON format. I want to convert this dictionary into which format? JSON format. And you can convert this dictionary into a JSON format. You can convert this dictionary into what? JSON format. By using JSON encoders will be there. There is a JSON encoder and JSON what? Decoders, right? You can use here JSON encoder and decoders here. Now there is a JSON render is there. So where is this JSON render is available in renders? Okay, render. Now you are saying JSON render dot render. Now you are creating an object of which class? JSON render class, and you are rendering this dictionary into which format? JSON string. It means you don't require to use dump, load. No, everything is provided by which one? REST framework on. Everything is provided by whom? REST framework. Now I'm using here from. So from REST framework dot. What is the name of this is renders. Okay, now I'm trying to import. What is the name of this is JSON render. Now you have to create an object of JSON render. Now this is which data? JSON data. JSON render object you have to create first. This is creating object of which class? JSON render. And this object is having an instance method. Okay, instance method is bind with what here? Object. What is the name of the method is render. Now what you are trying to render it? Data. And the data you are converting into what? JSON. So data into which format? JSON format. Okay. And which data? EMP dictionary dot, EMP dictionary dot, sorry, EMP dictionary dot. I already written, right? So EMP underscore what is that? Dictionary. It's nothing but is dictionary format or not? Yes. If this dictionary is converted into which format? JSON. And this JSON you can send as a part of which one? Response. So I think you have a JSON response also. Render renders. So this is a one module. So where you can find a JSON response. Where is available? Yeah, that is, but here is having a response. Okay, response directly, it send a response in which format? JSON format. So what is the name of this is? Response. I'll just see here. From REST framework. Here it is. Yeah, response. Now there is one class. What is the name of the class is? Response. See here, an HTTP response that allows data to be rendered into arbitrary media type. Okay. So automatically it will render. You don't require to render it. It will done by which one? Response. Where I'm saying return. Return what you are returning? Response. But this response is which type here? JSON data. So what is the name of the class here? Response class. What is the name of the class here? Response class. Now instead of use the data, setting, render, and media type, everything, you're trying to generally, if it is HTTP response, then you define the content type. What is the content type? You define application slash JSON. Okay. All these things you have to define it when you are creating which response? HTTP response. Now here I don't require to define the content type. Here I don't require to define which one? Content type. Okay, content type, because it takes the default content type as what? JSON. So return response, and here I said a JSON data. Okay. So very simple. This is how you are trying to generate the output. This is how you are trying to generate the output, right? So what is the name of this is JSON response. So anywhere it is there. Okay, now you can see this is a response. What response contain here? Data. Which data? Serialized data, and it is having a status code, and it is also having a template name. A template name to use if HTTP render is selected, because I said this REST framework is used for developing browsable APIs. Browsable APIs means where you can see the data in what? Browser. Whenever you say browser, it will try to display the data in which format? HTML format. It will try to render in which format? HTML format. Okay. So here the data. So the unrendered data, serialized data of the response. Is it this data is this data is serialized or not? Yes. That means we converted model instance into dictionary, dictionary into what? JSON. And we try to send as a part of which one? Response. Okay. Now develop. What do you develop now? Client application. But before that, define the endpoint. Django dot views import. What is the name of the view? Get employee. The name of the view is a get employee and path. So I'm trying to define the path. So get emp slash. You have to give what? Integer. What is the type is? Integer, right? Integer only. Employee number is which type? It is a captured parameter or not? Yes. How you are writing? Integer colon, inside or outside? So integer colon employee number, comma. What is the name of this is? Get emp. Okay, right? Now we have to develop a client application. We have to develop a client application. Develop a client application to read whose details? Employee details. Develop a client application to read employee details. Now here I'm writing a request. Okay, now this is a base URL. And what is a base URL is? So this is a base URL. Okay, base URL. And you may have a multiple endpoints because it is a function based. Okay. And you can also write one function where you can write multiple request methods. Now this is get one employee. This is get one employee. And where I'm trying to define the endpoint. So what is the endpoint? Get emp. Endpoint is a get emp, but I should concatenate. What should I concatenate? Employee number. I should concatenate what is your employee number. So we'll just concatenate. I'll try to input employee number, integer of input, integer of input. What should I input here? Employee number. Which employee details you want to read it? Then after that, you are writing a response equal to request dot. What is the request method is? Get. What is the default request method is? Get. I'm writing here base URL plus. What you are writing here? Endpoint. And to this, you are concatenating. What you are concatenating? Employee number. What you are concatenating? Employee number. You write here. Then here not required to define. So employee number, you are converting this employee number into what? String. You're converting this employee number into string and end with what here? Slash. So this is a request. Then after that, I'm trying to print a response. Now this is get one employee. Is it this is for reading multiple employees or only one employee? One employee. So this is client application. Okay. Now once you run this, now it's asking to input what here? Employee number. So the employee number is one. Now, but the response status is what here? 500. 500 means server error. Mm, render not set on response. 55. I'll just print here. So what is the error is? So when you run this code, one. So I've given one. So yeah, it is printed here. Okay. This is JSON data. And this data you are trying to put in what? Response. Actually, you don't require this. So application slash what data you are sending? JSON. Not required actually, but we'll see. Means REST framework, it provide everything, right? So it is provide inbuilt response and all the things. But what happened? Oh, sorry, sorry. So what I'm doing is, now here I'm trying to use, now I've not used any API view. So let me tell you again this. Now here I'm using a Django. Okay, Django dot HTTP import. What response I imported? JSON response or HTTP response. Any response you can define it. What is the name of the response is HTTP response. You can define, okay, HTTP response, HTTP response. And this is wrapped with which data? JSON data. And here I'm trying to define content type. Content. So that is a content. Content what? Type. Content type. And what is the content type is application slash JSON. Application slash JSON. So let us run this. It's very simple example only. Okay, now one. So it is get the data. Okay, that is, you can get this data at client side. So print response dot, print response dot JSON. Run the code one. Now you can see this is employee number one, right? So run the code and I'll try to input employee number two, right? So this is how it is done. Employee number, employee name, job salary. Okay. So run the code. But if employee number is not there, then it rises what here? Error. But are you handle this error? No, not handle this error. But this is serializing one model instance or multiple one. But suppose I want to get all the employees, get all employees, get all employees, request to get all employees. This is one more view where I want to get all the employees. So where I'm writing employees, employees equal to employee dot objects dot all. Now I want to serialize all returns what here? Query set. Actually, this is what here? Query set. Query set contain multiple instances or not? Yes. Then I want to convert this query set into what? I want to convert this query set into Python data type. And my query set is like list of model instances. Whenever you convert a query set into Python type, it will convert into which type of list? In the list, you contain multiple dictionaries. Okay. Then how can I convert that? By using EMP serializer. This is name of the object. Employee serializer, employee serializer, employee serializer. And what is the name of this object is query set, comma. There is one keyword argument. And what is that keyword argument is many. You have to say many equal to what here? True. Many equal to true. Many means are you serializing one instance or multiple instances? Multiple instances. You are not serializing one instance. You are serializing what? Multiple instances. Then you have to define one keyword argument. And what is the name of that keyword argument? Many. You are using one keyword argument called many. Okay. In serializer, if you want to serialize multiple objects, I don't know where is somewhere. This is validations. There are yes. No problem. So, but you have to do multiple objects. If you are doing multiple objects, then you have to say many equal to what here? True. So that will convert into which type of list? Okay, now you can say this is which list? Employee list equal to employee serializer dot data. Employee serializer dot what here? Data. Now this data you send as a part of what? Response. But for sending as a part of response, you have to convert this list into what? JSON. For that you are using JSON render. For that you are using what? JSON render to convert this list into what? JSON. Okay. What is the use of serializer? Converting query set into what? Python data type. And again, this Python data type you should convert into what? JSON. Because always the data is exchanged in which format? JSON format. Now this is which data? JSON data equal to JSON render. You are creating which object? JSON render dot render which list? EMP list. And return. Okay, return as a part of HTTP response JSON data and define the content type. Content type equal to application slash what is the name of this is JSON. Now this is serializing one or more than one object, more than one object. Now create an endpoint. Create an endpoint for this. So comma get all employees. Get all employees path. So path get all employees. Get all employees, comma get all employee is the name of the view function. Now write a client application. Write a client application. Write a client application. Okay. So get all employees. Get all employees. Okay. And what is an endpoint is define the endpoint. So get all underscore what employee. So this is an endpoint. You have to define this URL. Get all employee. Right. Now you are trying to get the data. Now response equal to request dot get. And what is the name of this is base URL plus what here endpoint. So I'm trying to get all the data by saying response dot JSON. So print response dot JSON. Now you need to call this function get all employees. Get all employees is the name of the function. You can see is it read all the employees or not? Yes. Now here you don't require to do anything. Everything is provided by serializer. Okay, now we read the data and we convert that data into Python type and Python to what? JSON. To convert this Python to JSON, now REST framework is provided which one? JSON rendered. JSON render which convert this Python type into what? JSON. Okay. So JSON render convert this list again back into what? JSON. And that you are wrapping within HTTP response and sending to whom? Client. Now this is serializing. This is what? Serializing. Now there is serialization and there is what? Deserialization. Deserialization means converting. Converting JSON to Python, Python to model. Converting JSON to Python, Python to what? Model. That process you call it as what? Deserialization. Okay. But here we have done what? Serialization, where we converted model instance into dictionary. Any object you can convert into what? Dictionary by using which class? Serializer class. That is based on any object you can convert into a Python type by using which class? Serializer class. But employee serializer serialize which class, which instances? Employee instances only because you define the structure or not. Yes. What is the structure is now these are the fields which are serialized. Which fields are serialized? Employee number, employee name, job, and one more is a salary. But I don't want to serialize which one? Salary. Then what I can do? I can remove this. I can remove this. I removed salary. Then what will happen? It will try to serialize only employee number, employee name, and job. But it doesn't serialize which one? Salary. If I run this, you can see employee number, employee name, and job. But can you see salary here? No. It means that is serialized or not serialized? Not serialized. Now, this is one advantage of using which class is serializer class. It means the fields which doesn't require to serialize, like what do you call it as hyperlink? Hyperlinks you don't require to serialize it, okay, because it is a link, right? Then in that case, what do you do it? You try to remove that from which one? Serializer class, right? So there are the fields which doesn't require to send as a part of response. Even that you remove as a part of which class? Serializer class. Okay, right. Okay, then next is deserialization. So what is a deserialization is? It is an inverse process, right? Okay, it is an inverse process. Now in this example, I try to use what I use here, JSON render. JSON render. Okay. What is JSON render is? A rendering Python type means converting. Here I use one more class. What is the name of the class is? JSON render. JSON render. So JSON render. is a predefined class. JSON render is a predefined class which provide methods, which provides methods for encoding and methods for encoding and what here? Decoding. So what is encoding is? Encoding is a process of encoding is a process of converting Python Python data type Python data type to JSON, and decoding is a process of converting what? JSON type JSON type to what? Python type. JSON type to what here? Python data type. So that is provided by JSON render. So it is having one method. What is the name of the method is render. So there is a method called what here? Render. So render is a method. Render is a method. And this method, what it will return? It converts JSON render. What is the input given to the render is Python type. So Python data type is given as a render. Okay. So this returns which is string? JSON string. Or it converts, or it convert Python object type, into which type? JSON type. So that is done by a method called which one? Render. Okay. So this actually you call it as serialization. But there is one more which is called as what here? Deserialization. Deserialization is nothing but converting. We'll discuss validation and model instances. But deserialization is nothing but converting JSON into what? Python objects. So when it is done, when you send the data, now client application send the data in which format? JSON format. Now you should convert that JSON data into what? Python objects. Then how you convert that JSON data into Python object? Now this JSON render is having two methods. One is render and one more method is parse. Two methods are there. One is render. What render is doing? Converting Python type into JSON. There is a method called parse which convert JSON into what? Python type. So there is a method. Now this encoding is done using render and decoding is done using parse. Okay. Decoding is done by using which method? Parse. Parse it followed by which string? JSON type. Okay. Parse it followed by JSON type. Actually JSON type. So this returns which object? Python object. Or convert Python sorry, this convert JSON type into which type? Python objects. So JSON render is provided two instance methods. One is render and one more is what? Parse. Okay. So suppose if the client send the data in JSON, you convert that into Python type using which method? Parse method. Two methods, I think. Yes. See here. What is the name of this method is parse. The name of the method is what here? Parse. Okay. Okay. Yes. Now here we read the data. We read the data and send it to which application? We read the data and send it to which application? Client application. But I'll tell you how to develop a browsable API. Browsable API. But here we are not inheriting any properties of browsable API. For developing browsable API, you have to develop a class by inheriting API view class. You have to develop a class by inheriting which class? API view class, so that you can interact with the APIs directly from what? Browser. You can send by using get method, put method, post method, right? So directly it will provide an interface. Okay, interface for browsing or communicating with what? APIs. That we'll discuss. Now this is views.py. But here you have a less coding. Now there you have to convert dump load. Okay. And if you want to convert model instance, again you have to read data. You have to concatenate with you have to store in dictionary into what? List. You have to do a lot of operations, and that can be avoided. That can be avoided by simply using which classes? Serializer classes. Okay. Now I want to insert data. Now client want to insert data. Now if client want to insert data, now this is create a resource. Create employee. What is the name of the function is? Create employee. Create employee. Now this is one thing which is very important for developing API. Very simple. API development doesn't need much time. Only the thing is, because already you know Django and you know how to perform operations on model. Okay, only the thing is serializing and deserializing. If you know this process, you can do anything in what? API. Okay, na? So rest of the things will be the same. But what you're doing is you're developing only endpoints. Okay. Now I want to insert a data. I want to insert data where I'm saying integer of input. So what you are trying to input here, employee number. So input. So I want to input. Oh, we'll do one thing this. Okay. Creating, we'll see. Creating like crude operations like inserting, updating, and deleting. And even I'll tell you how to build a browsable API by narrating API view class. And even we'll take validations, model serializer, all these things I'll try to explain. But not tomorrow. Tomorrow, no class. The next class will be on Friday. Tomorrow, no class. Friday, you'll have a class. Okay, na? So today we'll stop it here and Friday we'll continue. Right? Thank you. We'll see you on Friday. Right? बोलो यार. हम्म. हम्म. क्यों वैसा? हम्म. देखो करके अभी. हम्म. हम्म. टेम्पलेट पाथ. हम्म. हम्म. डेटाबेस पाथ नहीं दिया क्या? हाँ. वो देना पर आप देना ना. क्यों नहीं तो कहाँ पे सर्च करेगा उन्होंने? सही. और माइस्क्यूल करे तो आप वो माइस्क्यूल डेटाबेस वहाँ पे रहना. अब जहाँ पे आप डिप्लॉय करें क्लाउड में डिप्लॉय करें तो वहाँ पे रहना. अब वहाँ पे डेटाबेस क्रिएट करना, वो डेटाबेस पाथ देना. ओके. नहीं दिए तो वो काम नहीं करेगा. नहीं 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 होता. ठीक है. हाँ? తెలియదమ్మా అడుగుతాను. ఉమ్. అవునా?